Hello everyone, this is Lucas Vasconcelos, and on this video I will introduce you to Rogic, the programming software we are going to use to program our robos. Rogic is a very simple and intuitive programming tool that allows you to drag and drop the blocks of coding from the left area, which is the menu, onto the work area on the right. The block start will always be there. So let's suppose that I want to activate a port in my robot or in my CPU. I can click on the on block, drag it to the work area, and click again, and it will snap together right after. It will snap together with the start block, and then a very interesting thing is that you can, after you select the specific block, you can change the parameters. So for example, with on, I can click on this very tiny little square here, and I can select which ports I want to activate in my circuit or in my robot. So let's suppose I want to activate ports number 1 and 2, and just click on confirm. So now let's suppose as well that I want to have ports number 1 and 2 activated for 4 seconds. So I can click on the delay button and then drag it to my code and click on the small tiny little square and select how many seconds I want them to be activated and click on confirm. So now let's suppose that after the 4 seconds I want both ports to be turned off. So I can click on chips, select off, drag it, snap it together, and then select which ports I want to be turned off after those 4 seconds. Very simple, right? As you can see, with Rogic, I applied the same basic programming principles that you learned when you were coding with code.org. So we are using a set of blocks that represent specific commands. We are snapping them together to form a bigger code, and that program will be executed by the robot that we have. So now let's suppose that I want to save this specific program for later, so I can retrieve it later and I can save it in my computer. So I can go to File, click on Save, and it will save in my downloads using the RPG format, which is specific to the Rogic program. In this case, I can also select to open a file that I saved previously and I created previously. So the file usually have the Rogic's icon on the left. So you can just click on open, but I would like to keep the one I have for now, so I won't open the other one. If you are done programming, you also have the option of downloading the code to your CPU board to test your program, evaluate if it worked as you planned, and possibly revise it if you want to make revisions. But before downloading it, you have to make sure that your CPU board is turned on, which means the red light should be on, and the CPU board is connected using the USB cable to your computer. So you're going to click on download, and as you can see, the download was complete. The process is really fast, but this is the feedback that you receive when Rogic successfully downloads the program into the your CPU board. Now I have my CPU board turned off just so I can show you what happens if I try to download the program onto the CPU and it's not turned off or not connected. So if I click on, when I click on download, I see the message that the port is not connected, which means my program was not even downloaded to the CPU board. After you download the program to your CPU board or to your robot, you have the option of clicking on Run to make the board or the robot execute your program. This function is very helpful if you're programming LED lights or sensors or simpler systems that don't require a lot of movement, and that way you don't have to unplug the USB cable. But if you're programming a robot and you want the robot to move around a lot and execute a longer complex sequence of steps, then you will have to unplug the robot so it can move around freely. And the three other buttons, stop, you can use to stop the execution of your program. If it's halfway, you can click www to go to a web browser and access the RoboRobo website, and you can click on exit to exit the software. Now let's suppose that I'm not happy with my program and I would like to delete one code. So I can select off, for example, just drag it to the trash bin and click on the trash bin, and I can confirm that I want to delete it. So it's very simple as well to delete the codes. We have many different possible options, but we are not going to cover all of them at this point. This video is just an introductory video about the basics of Rogic. After you program, you download the program onto your robot and you run a test, you may find out that things didn't quite work as well, or at least not as you expected they would. So there are a few troubleshooting strategies that you can use. So first of all, you can check if the cables or the wires are properly connected, always making sure that the black cable is aligned with the white triangle on the in or out ports. You can check if the USB cable is working fine, if the batteries are not failing. Make sure that the CPU board is turned on, which means there should be a red light on when you turn on the power switch. And you can also go back to the sequence of blocks that you programmed in Rogic to make sure that that it's the correct sequence. Sometimes it requires a little bit of trial and error. Sometimes you may want to revise and see what the different blocks can do. See if you will snap them together in the correct sequence, if your parameters are set correctly, and then you may need to engage in this iterative process where you have to test and revise your program. Now remember, after you use Rogic for the activity for exercise 4, you should save all the programs that you create with this software. You should save by clicking on File and saving it in your computer, and you can upload the file to ELC. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll be glad to help you.